is Sydney Green. I am the OT student today, and today we're just going to be doing some tips and strategies, also interventions on pneumonia prevention. So today I have Jamichael Washington, and he is actually going to be the caregiver of his elderly mom, so I'm going to give him some tips and education onto how to better protect her from pneumonia. So the first thing I'm going to do is hello Jamichael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you, Sydney?
Good, how are you? I already asked that question. Okay, so today we're going to discuss some tips and strategies about protecting ourselves from pneumonia. You can protect yourself, but also we want to focus on protecting your elderly mother. So the first thing I want to ask is, what information do you already know about pneumonia?
The only thing I knew about being sick.
Okay, that's a good start. Anything else replying to that?
That's pretty much it.
Okay, that's good. No worries about that. So I'm just going to give you some background information about pneumonia. So we all know that it is a lung infection. It can be caused by viruses, bacteria, sometimes fungi, but that's very rare. But it is a leading cause of death in children and older adults. So as we get older, our body is slowly deteriorating. That means our lungs are getting less strong. So with our older folks, we want to make sure that we're protecting them with all of that. Okay. So when it comes to that, so the first thing I want to let you know is educate you on some tips that you can do. Thanks to science and technology, we have vaccines. Are you aware of vaccines? You know what those are? Okay, awesome. And I know that your mother has some other conditions such as diabetes or medication. Does she have a pharmacy nearby where she picks up the education?
Yeah, she usually go on CVS.
Okay. Do you know where that is? Do you pick that up or does she pick it up?
Usually I do. It's on Schillinger.
Okay, awesome. So it is getting that season where it is the season is changing, the weather is changing, people are getting sick. So actually you can go on your CVS website and they actually have a clinic open where they do free vaccines. Yeah, so that'd be a great way. It will be a shot into her arm. It is going to be a sore a couple of days. I'll provide you guys a handout that I'll be able to send you after this meeting. But definitely check that out on the website. I definitely want to educate you on that, on location. And is transportation okay with you guys? Are you able to drive her?
Yeah, usually I drive, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So whenever you guys have availability, make sure you do that. It is once a year. Usually it's around the October year. So make sure you do get that vaccine to prevent that pneumonia.
Okay.
Right? So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is definitely focus on, proper oral hygiene. As we know, over time, we want to make sure that we're taking care of our teeth. Because what do people see the first time they see us? Our smile, right? So we want to make sure that we're keeping her smile, bright and healthy. So that also goes in to make sure she's brushing her teeth, checking her teeth, doing oral examinations whenever you can. Whenever she goes to the doctor, just see if the doctor can check her teeth as well. But when you guys are at home, when you wake up in the morning, she can brush her teeth. When she goes to bed, brush her teeth just to keep them healthy and also to strengthen her enamel as well. Because when we get older, our enamel and our gum, they start to get lower and our tooth start to get sensitive. I did have another question for you. Does your mother wear dentures?
Yes, she do actually.
She does? Okay, awesome. So with those dentures, does she clean them on her own or do you have to constantly remind her?
She tried to do a good job of cleaning them, but it's more like so on. It's constantly.
Okay. So with that, just making sure whenever she brushes her teeth in the morning, she brushes her dentures as well.
Okay.
When she goes to bed, she brushes them as well. Just because that buildup bacteria can really affect those gums, especially over time when that enamel gets weakened. It can get really into those that teeth enamel, and it will just really get that infection really bad, and it will start making her aspirate, and causing more infection in her lungs. So we just want to make sure we eliminate that as much as we can.
Okay.
I did want to make sure that you understand what I'm saying. So can you teach back to me everything we talked about? I know we talked about our vaccinations, and you're going to go where exactly?
Wherever we get our medicine from. So I know CVS, she says on the website, and there'll be a shot on the arm. It's going to be sore for a couple of days. Right. So you say you're going to give me a handout on that, so pretty much I need more information on that.
Awesome. Yes. All right, and then also with our oral care, make sure she's brushing her teeth.
Yes, constantly, every day, as she should. So.
Awesome, very good. And the last thing I want to make sure that we're understanding is washing our hands. Hand sanitizer. As you know, we did go through a whole pandemic, so washing our hands is very, very, very crucial. Whenever we're touching our face, or whenever we're eating something, or whenever we're touching something that we usually don't touch all the time or in a long time, we want to make sure that we're brushing our teeth. So, washing our hands, with hand sanitizer, antibacterial soap, it's very low cost, it's worldly adaptable and easily adopted. Whenever you're doing something, you need help with her medication or any type of injections, wash your hands. whenever she's doing any injections or anything for instance, her diabetes, washing her hands, just to prevent that bacteria from getting into her bloodstream and then producing those antigens that cause that pneumonia.
Okay.
All right. And also, just simple things when you sneeze, sneeze into your arm, what they call the Dracula cough or the Dracula sneeze. Make sure you're sneezing into your elbow, never into your hands. If there ever is a time where she does sneeze in her hands or when you sneeze your hands, wash your hands. It's very super important. And if you don't, want to use soap all the time, because I know it does break down the skin, and we want to make sure we're minding our skin integrity. You can use hand sanitizer. But you must follow up with lotion just to make sure it doesn't dry her skin out, because that could cause breakage and then also splits in her hands and her fingers. So make sure you're mindful of that. And the last thing I also want to do is to make things easier, more enjoyable for her. You can add music to everything. Associating her favorite song. Does she have a favorite song with you?
Anything Kirk Franklin, she loves.
Anything Kirk Franklin. Okay, that's awesome. So she can apply that to brushing her teeth, washing her hands. As we know, we need to brush our teeth for at least 2 minutes. We need to wash our hands for at least 20 to 30 seconds. So in order that we're hitting all those healthy points and all those healthy standards, we can apply that to something meaningful for her, which could be her music. It could be anything that gets her up in the morning. We want to make sure that we're motivating her to do those things, not only for herself, but also for you, to make sure that you have your mother whenever you need her. And also, as she ages, we want to make sure they're aging in place and not just, slowly deteriorating from the earth. All right? Is there any questions you have for me about that? So remember, we talked about, washing our hands whenever we're, about to touch our mouth or our face, before, after we eat something, or we touch something that's dirty. Also want to make sure we're taking care of our oral health, make sure she's brushing her teeth, brushing her dentures, and doing weekly or monthly oral exams, just making sure there's no cuts or anything that looks abnormal. And definitely check out a dentist if you guys have one.
Okay.
And then the last thing I want to do is definitely use those outside resources at your local Walgreens or CVS for those free vaccines. They usually happen every year around that October time. But usually you can get a notification. Since she does have medication there, you guys can use the website for notifications, or you can use your phone or her phone. Whatever is easier for you guys to remember that. Okay? Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michael. And thank y'all for learning some tips on how to prevent pneumonia.